Welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Hope you're doing well this morning. Hope you are doing safe this morning. Being safe, packing the patience. Speaking of patience, it's the one that if you don't have patience, you're going to have a hard time dealing with them. It's our very own Drive Safe Dave. I almost called you Driver Dave, but we're going to go back with the real name. Hey, it's Drive Safe Dave.
There's nothing wrong. And why would you need patience to talk to me? I'm probably the most calming thing in your life at any given moment.
When you become the most calming thing in my life, folks, that's when you're going to have to come save me, come help me out on that. Drive Safe Dave, look what I got in the mail. Look what I got in the mail yesterday. No Cell Technologies. We got our first ones in.
Uh-oh.
And look at it. Bam, baby. We've got our first one we're on our way to being the safest station in the nation because we now have these. And let me tell you something, folks at No Cell. You, my friends, can package a box. This box is not for the faint. You better have yourself a sword on it to get it, a chainsaw to open this up. This package, nobody's going to break into this. It's not worth it if you don't have just a nice sharp pocket.
Look at how Rick has gone after
look at it. I'm telling you, I was like this, and I'm like, how do you open this daggum thing? Hey, great job for No Cell. No Cell, one of our prime oh, no, you're not. You're not sponsoring us yet, but one day we'll get you on as a sponsor as well. But we love your product. We love anything, Drive Safe Dave, to help us become a little safer out there on the road.
And not be distracted while behind the wheel.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, if you get this, if you're an independent contractor out there, you have 1, 2, 5 trucks, you're a trucking company out there, you're running with 25, 50, 3,000 trucks, hey, get this package open before you get out there. Don't try to open this and drive. That is a distraction. It took, I'm telling you, without a knife, and this is as far as I got him. This is a day into it. All right, I got this yesterday, and it took me a day to get this far.
Well,
so phenomenal job.
Yeah, the accomplishments are just innumerable. Unbelievable.
Drive Safe Dave. So talk to me a little bit. Are you a bachelor in it right now?
I am.
Man, are you? So you do. So when you're by yourself and you got like 4 or 5 days, are you bathing? Are you just gonna go like this every day? Never gonna bathe for 5 days.
I will tell you there are a couple of things that I have done that I don't normally. I drop everything like it's hot in the house. So if I don't need it right now, I'll drop it where it's at. I don't have to pick it up. So there's stuff laying all over the place.
Socks all over the place. You got underwear everywhere, T-shirts.
Drop it like it's hot. I don't need this right now. You got nobody coming behind me either picking up or telling me what to do with it. So
chip packages everywhere. I get it. You know what? I've been there, done that. My wife and kids, they would go on vacation and and I couldn't go with them. I had to sit back and work, right? And my only thing I needed to know is, hey, when are you coming back?
Right,
so I can get somebody up here and clean it to make it look like you were never messed. I mean, that's just how Sir Rick is. Sir Rick cleans up as he goes.
So and funny that you mentioned that. She comes back at 5 o'clock on Saturday. Guess who's hitting the house Saturday morning?
The cleaning lady. Because when you are Drive Safe Dave, you don't do it yourself. You ring the bell. Oh, butler, oh, cleaning person, we need you to come clean.
I want to make sure that it's just right for the wife, right, so that she doesn't walk into any stressful situation after she's been on vacation.
You know what? I love who you are as a person. Hey, we have a great interview again today. We have Raquel Packett's going to talk a little bit about brokerage, right? Brokers, what do they do? From a business industry, what is she doing at her company? Maybe different than other companies. We love that because we want to understand, we want our drivers out there, drivers that are following this show to know what happens in the middle of, during the course of business, right? That who's behind the loads? What are they really doing? Are they just giving you a load and sitting back and wait? People wonder. I know, right? Make sure you deliver it on time.
I'm going to call you 900 times during your load. I'm going to call you when you're sleeping. I'm going to wait till you're sleeping, and I'm going to give you a call. Check call.
Yeah, always, right? But before we do that, and before we go to that first break of the day, we're going to hop in a little bit of freight and review. And Dave, some things that we want to talk about are the volumes of this year. Now, we talked about it earlier, right? We've seen the volumes as high as they've ever been before. today, Drive Safe Dave, these volumes are amazing right now. They are significantly higher than they were at the beginning of last year. And as we see these volumes north of now 15,000 shipments, Dave, and it's not like we're talking peak season. This is January.
Which is the absolute worst in volume. We are saying out record numbers. I have no idea. This can only go basically up from here. I mean, I can't even imagine. But we're even above where we were last year. I mean, and it's continuing on with the shipments and what's going on out there. I'll tell you, this is not normal. I mean, this is by no means, or is this the new normal?
You know what, we are in that new norm cycle, right? We talk about that August of 20, we started seeing it. Listen, it's significant volume. It's more volume than it was last year, but it's really, when we look at the next slide, it's that volume over the years past. We see those slides down there, Dave, and you see those two little lines way down there on the bottom. Well, that's every other year at under 10,000 shipments a day, and you see kind of the new norm. Last year, Dave, we were at 14,212. Today, 15,200. 1,000 shipments more a day. Nothing crazy, but still a lot more freight. But it's those years past that we've got to let it go. We hear the song, let it go. Is it let it snow? I'm saying let it go.
And so, Rick, we talk about it and we look at all these shipments. How are we still having empty shelves? How are we still having, you know what I'm saying?
So those are the tender volumes that are going out. Those are the shipments that are being tendered out. And what I don't know, and I'm going to take a little bit of time probably later, I want to really go back and look at the leads, right? These freight is being tendered out, but is it being tendered out for 5, 6, 8 days from now? I want to go back and research that, because I've got to believe one thing is that we know from shippers is that the earlier you tender it out, the easier it is for a carrier to accept that load. And when we look and we see that next slide, we'll see, hey, you know what? Right now, this is the wrong one. We're going to look at the reefers, though, right here. And I'm going to go back to my point. On this one right here, Dave, you look at the reefer. The reefers are busy, right? Absolutely. About the same as it is in the dry van.
Absolutely.
It's higher than it was last year.
Absolutely.
Nothing about the same percentage greater. So, hey, reefer business, you're out there. It's going strong. The dry van's going strong. And guess what else? It's that flatbed. And we can talk to Raquel a little bit more on that flatbed side. When we look at the outbound tender rejections, though, that's that next lane. You see us way down there at 20%. So almost 21%, right, of record freight is being rejected today. Now, what I do see what I believe when I look at this rejection rate is, when freight begins to get tendered out every day, but not just for today or tomorrow, but for 3, 4, 5 days out, well, a primary carrier can accept those tenders. So you don't see the crazy rejection rates. It's still 20%. It's still
those
a lot.
Huge peaks.
Yeah, but it's the new norm, right? It's staying in balance with the new norm at just under 21%. When those tender rejections, this is the part that I want to go back and look at, when the freight being tendered is reduced down to, say, 2 days out, 1 day out, when it starts reducing, that's what will really drop or drive those rejections back up, because I've got to see it. I need to know as a carrier, as a broker, hey, what do you have for me in 5 days? Not just for today, right? When you tender me freight for today, that's the freight that gets rejected, same day freight, that hits that spot market freight that creates the crazy prices.
Absolutely.
So the further, shippers, hear me out on this, is that the further that you can ship out freight, the further you can tender out freight in advance, the higher the odds of a carrier accepting it.
Absolutely.
It becomes easier to manage, right, as opposed to same day. Because when you wait to the last second, Dave, I'm going to tender you freight for tomorrow, there's a good chance that truck has already been moved.
Absolutely. Or there's not any trucks in that area that you can have. I mean, you can't get one there. But 4 or 5 days out, I can plan to have a truck there, right? I can get one there. I can actually move freight in line to get one there, and that truck that is there is yours.
Yeah. So we look at the next one, and this is kind of interesting to me as well. And it's I don't think it's a big surprise. So now we're looking at the kind of freight that's being rejected. So we saw the 21% freight being rejected today. Now it's kind of diving in and showing us, hey, okay, I get freight's being rejected, but what freight is really being rejected the most? we see that the the tweener freight, and that tweener freight is at 400 miles. It's just like it's not really going to take my day 350 miles. It doesn't take a complete day. Well, that freight being rejected is at 28.75%. That's that orange you see right up there at 24.58. Once again, it's the mid haul. It's not paying me quite enough as a long haul would be, perhaps. So I'm going to reject more of that. 24.58. The short haul, only 16.84% of that short haul being rejected. And the long haul freight, 21.54, pretty much in average with the overall freight. So you see the differences in the freight that's being rejected. Hey, Drive Safe Dave, that's what's going on in our market. That's freight in review for today. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with Miss Raquel with a little bit of brokerage conversation. How about that?
I like it.
Coming up next. Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Joining us today is Raquel Packets, the president of Zen Freight Solutions. Raquel, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Doing great.
Well, you know what? Hold on a second. He's not Gentleman and Drive Safe Dave. You know, he gets kind of confused when you loop us in that same.
I'll take it this morning. Great job. Hey, and you're doing well?
I am. Staying warm. It's about a whole 20 degrees here in Pennsylvania.
Oh.
No, thank you.
Brutal.
No, thank you.
No, not like that for sure. Hey, so Raquel, do us a favor. Tell us a little bit about who you are and your company.
Sure thing. I'm Raquel Packets, president of Zen Freight Solutions. We're a third-party transportation partner. I work with mostly owner-operators and very small trucking companies. And my niche market is flatbed. So flatbed, hotshot, anything that needs to be done right away, I can help.
Ooh, boy, that flatbed business, that's not for the easy, right? You know, we have the dry van carriers that just put it in a box and go. You have the reefers that have to make sure that it's cooled enough. Then you have the flatbed business that takes a lot of work. Drive Safe Dave, he's an ex-flatbedder right here, Raquel.
Oh, yeah, I did a flatbed a long time. There's tarping, strapping, chaining, blocking. There's all that stuff that goes along with it. And the setup, the breakdown, all that stuff that goes along with it.
So why flatbed, Raquel? Why did you choose that flatbed market?
Well, I started my career at PLS Logistics locally here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we were really heavy in the flatbed market. So I grew my name and kind of just stuck with it. I've also been on a flatbed and helped a driver tarp a coil before, so I have a load of compassion for all of the heaviness of tarps and everything that drivers have to go through out there in the day-to-day.
Hey, so Raquel, tell us a little bit, and our listener and audience right now. Again, these are the independent contractors, company drivers. What makes Zen Freight different than, say, any other broker out there?
Well, when you call, you're talking to myself or one of my two team members. So it's a very small team here. We care a lot about the drivers. We make sure that we're connecting, and we're going to learn a little bit about each driver to make sure that we know where their best lanes are so that we can keep them moving. We make sure that every driver has all of the information they need. We take it that extra mile, we'll put it that way.
I was going to ask you, and as we talk about it, Rick was talking about the markets earlier and how they've changed dramatically over the last couple of years. How has you seen your business change dramatically over the last couple of years? Similar to what we're discussing, or just let us in on what you know.
Sure. I've seen flatbed rates go from an average of about $1.50 to $1.75 to now up to $2.25, $2.50 a mile on the average flatbed load now.
Yeah, crazy to think that it wasn't very long ago, a couple of years ago, that freight, that flatbed freight, the rates had just sunk and there wasn't much going on. And now we've got a lot of things happening, right? We have the infrastructure getting ready to happen. That just preaches and talks to that flatbed market. We talk about drivers, the driver shortages. Talk to us a little bit. I'm going to move into that too. The driver shortage in that flatbed, as we start moving more and more of this infrastructure, how do you see that impacting that flatbed business?
Oh, I'm already seeing it happening. Same day trucks are nearly impossible to line up. And I think a lot of drivers are even booked for about 5 to 6 days out now. So the best thing I can tell everyone is to make sure that you have good relationships. I'm always talking to my drivers to know what there is on their schedule, what they're planning for, and make sure that I can get them ahead of time before anyone else can and keep them busy.
Yeah, and that's a great lead. On our freight and review we did just before this, we talk about load tenders, and that's us making sure we're educating the shippers on, hey, listen, if you have something that's got to move tomorrow, let me know 4 days ago. Don't spring it on me today, because to your point, there's a chance that truck is already gone, right?
Right. There's so much freight. If a driver's sitting for more than an hour to load, they're going to leave. They're going to go get something else that they can get loaded and get moving, because time is money in this industry.
And I'll tell you, the big emphasis we have on the show is, of course, always safety. And we sure would like to know how you, what you look at, your viewpoint on safety, and what you do different than maybe another 3PL as far as when it comes to safety.
Sure thing. So I always make sure that I talk to both the dispatcher and driver to make sure everybody understands what the requirements are of the load, everything that they need to have, and just so there's a full understanding. On top of that, if there's directions that they need, I make sure that I get them first and I check them out, and then I will then hand them off to the driver, just so that they don't have to worry about it. Take that extra mile,
Gotcha, and that's important. And I heard you lead off with, you talk to the dispatcher and the driver. You talk to the dispatcher primarily, and then when you want the truth, you pick up the phone and you call the driver, right?
I'm always making sure that I talk to the driver just to be sure that they fully understand all of the requirements. When you're securing a large coil that's 48,000 pounds to the back of your flatbed, you have to know what you're doing. You have to be sure that you understand what the requirements are and how big of a responsibility you're taking on.
When you do that, how do you ensure that they know? Like, do you look at these guys with experience, or how do you judge their experience? I'm just curious, because you just talked about the coil, you talked about the safety, and you talked about, how do you know exactly that they know what they're doing?
Honestly, through talking with them. If a driver understands what a coil rack is, then they've already loaded a coil before. I will ask what their experience is, how long they've been running, get an idea of how many tarps they have on their truck. If they can talk the lingo back with me, then I know that they've been a flatbedder for a while. If they're a drive-in guy that just came over to be a flatbed and they're like, well, what's a coil rack, or what are pipe stakes? Then I'm probably not going to work with them on my freight, just because I want to make sure everyone's safe.
Yeah. Hey, what's this tarp thing you speak of?
Steel drop tarp, 8 feet. What's that? I don't know what a drop tarp is.
Hey, so we talked to
flatbedders.
Raquel, we talked to flatbedders as well, and that do this on brokerage. And I am curious on this, because they're, on that brokerage side with your customer, when you start talking about coils, there can be claims with that freight as well. Do the independent contractors, do the drivers, are they sending you pictures of it completely, say tarped up, so you can go to that shipper, that receiver, in case there is a claim later on and fight it, or you just wait until they get there?
Yes, after every shipment is loaded, if it does need to be tarped, then we ask for a photograph to be sent over via text.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, we will just ask for the BOL just to confirm that we are loading the proper material every time.
Awesome, man. And I was wondering, and great. I'm going to tell you that's a great practice. A lot of companies do that, and especially in that flatbed side, when it comes to claims, right? It's something you've got to do. Do you experience many claims in what you see on that flatbed side as opposed to on the dry van side or reefer side? We don't experience a whole lot, but on that flatbed, what do you see with claims?
In my 13 years of experience, I have only had about 5 claims total. The most recent one this past year was just a driver going down an Arkansas road, and the strap came loose, and he must not have noticed, and he lost an equipment off the back of the truck. So that was a big one. But most of the time, it's not usually like something that the driver has done. There's a something they wreck into, or it's an offloading error or something like that. But yeah, I haven't had many claims.
Yeah, when it falls off the back of the truck, that's not a good thing.
I so wish I was ready for this conversation right now, because we have a video of a truck, and you may have seen that when an ambulance falls off the back of the flatbed and keeps running down the road on its own. It wasn't chained properly, right?
No.
It wasn't secured properly. And it's one of the trucks that follow BCB Live. It was their video. They sent it to us, and it literally showed next to him the ambulance falling off, and then it falls off on a busy, and then it stays on the highway the whole time like somebody's driving it.
At 60 miles an hour, it goes down the road, and the flatbedder at one point, miles down the road, had to hit the ambulance and knock it off the road because it was just flying down the road. And it didn't have brakes on, it didn't have the parking deal on, and it was never secured properly to the trailer. It was a scary, scary situation.
That is crazy.
Yeah, you know what? If that's a video we'll send you, because when you talk to your carriers, you say it's a secured, and maybe you don't feel like it is. Let them watch this video.
Yeah.
They'll understand how important the securement of vehicles of freight is, especially on that flatbed side.
Absolutely, and make sure that when you check it out, it doesn't matter if somebody else put it on there, you check your securement of the load all the time. But interesting stuff, and exciting information. I do know, did we have pictures or anything that you wanted to see or like that? I thought we got some photos, right?
Oh,
there you are.
We go.
What are you loading there, crane?
That is a mini house that the high school had built, and they needed it out within like a week. So we had to do some local maneuvering, and we got a crane in there to get that thing onto the trailer. We probably could have got it onto a tilt bed, but it was a little tall. So this was the next best thing in our time crunch.
You know what? I see that picture on that one. I can't imagine many of our listeners saying, that needs to be out there on my hunting ranch. I need that on my deer blind right there. There's some more freight right here. Wow. I love it. I love it. Drive safe, Dave. Just a different kind of freight, right?
Oh, yeah. I've been there, done most of that.
What?
Now, that I have never done. That right
What?
there, that is a heavy,
Well, I'm passing on this.
That's a heavy load right there.
What is this? What's going on in this picture, Raquel?
Oh gosh, that is a super load that was delivered locally here in my town. I wasn't actually able to transport that myself, but I saw it and I was like, I have to get a photo of this. I would assume that that's probably 180,000 pounds or so. There's a lot of axles on that trailer,
Yeah,
and
sure
it's pretty tall.
It looks like one of those generators or something.
Yeah,
goes,
again, that flatbed, a lot of work. Hey, Raquel, I want to thank you for being part of BCB Live. I'm going to ask you to say something in a second, but first, hey, for our listeners that watch us, they want to find some freight. How do they find your freight to move for you, and how do they get in contact with you?
Sure, anyone can reach out to me here. Our office line is 724-800-3100. Or you can reach us at zenfreightsolutions.com.
Love it. We want you to, again, when I hear you right here, if I'm a flatbedder out there, I'm picking up the phone. I'm going to call you. I want to move some of that big, heavy freight. But maybe it pays more. I don't know. Hey, I want to do one more thing. We do this with everybody. We want you to say your name and then say BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. This is Raquel Packets coming from you live with BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
All right.
Bam!
Thank you
so much. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you so much for being on the show. Drive safe, Dave. Again, another, just a great person to have on the show. And it shows, for our listeners out there, there's a bunch of brokers out there, but you want to work with somebody that really cares about you, right? Really knows what you are doing, especially an independent contractor out there that can get into your day-to-day and make it personal with you.
Yeah, and develop that much needed relationship, though you have a good understanding of what they're expecting, what you're expecting, and those kinds of relationship. And what she was talking about is this relationship development that she has with her drivers and also her customers. So I think that's imperative to a success to your business and business model, and and also a relationship with the customer. So all that works out really well.
Yes, and again, as we in this industry, I'm going to talk to the flatbedders out there. Listen, we got a lot of freight that's going to have to start moving, and it's right around the corner. Yep. With the infrastructure, with these bridges, with these roads, with all the building that's going on. You want to make sure you surround yourself with somebody that can be there with you, that can help you identify to the customer when you are running late, that cares about your safety, that's going to help you out and make sure that they go back and review the rates to make sure they're paying you the best price that they can. Those smaller brokers, they get inside of your heart and they work a different way. You're not just a load to them. To them, you're part of their life.
Yeah, and a much needed part. And I'll tell you, it works great. When you can pick up the phone and you can call somebody and they
call
answer.
the president.
Call the president and get the zen, right, that you need.
I like that too.
You get the zen that you need to move the load.
Need some zen right here on BCB Live. We'll be back to you in 60 seconds. BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Coming up next, obviously, is the one and only Buckle Up Bob. He's going to talk about the weather going on, the traffic across the country, and even what to expect coming up in a few days as we have some weather coming in. Dave, we've opened up the show talking about the no-suck technologies, and I really am. I'm excited. I know we had Alan Arnold, a volunteer that came on last time, but folks, we have them right here. And Dave, when I see this little thing, it's a lifesaver. That is a lifesaver because that can help you, take away some of those distractions that we have. So make sure if you're interested, if you want part of this, remember we had to say that said, hey, we got 4 or 5 of them in here. We want to help make you successful. Raise your hand, send an email, get on the line with us. You know what? Make that decision to
commitment.
Commitment. There you go.
This
to be safe, to save lives.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a little bit smaller, but it's just as important as what do you call it? A life
preserver?
A life preserver.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a big word there, drive safe.
Woo!
Dave. Big word. Hey, it's time for that phrase that pays. Dave, can you give it to us?
Yes, the phrase that pays is, as we get ready for it for this week in Big Money, always think twice before driving on ice.
One more time.
Always think twice before driving on ice.
Thank you so much. This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Buckle up, Bob, coming up next.
Hey, everybody. It's Drive Safe Dave here with BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
As you know, winter is upon us, and with winter comes some difficulties and challenges. Now, if you live below or running below that 20 or I-10 corridor, you may not feel that pressure, but if you do, let's talk about a few little tips that we have. Tip number one, let's make sure we get over here and we drain these air tanks. Let's get that moisture out of there so that we make sure, because moisture and freezing cold temperatures don't mix. All they make is ice. Tip number two, remember when air temperature drops, so does pressure in these tires. You want to make sure that when you enter into or near cold temperatures, you make sure that your tire pressure is and cold pressure stays correct throughout these cold temperatures. You want to be safe out there because this is where the rubber meets the road. Tip number three, if it's extreme weather and extreme cold conditions, you may want to make sure that you use an anticoagulant or an anti-gel inside the diesel fuel so that it thins and doesn't gel up on you in the lines or anywhere else. Tip number four, as you know, when you enter into the West, there are certain regions that require you to have snow chains and or snow socks in that region. Make sure that you carry them. And tip number five, I'm going to give this one to you as a freebie. Carry with you a little bit of cat litter in your truck. That way, if you get a little bit stuck or if you get near a region that doesn't have a lot of grip, you can throw that down and give your truck that needed oomph to get out of those sticky or slippery situations. For more pertinent and safety information, you can always tune in Monday through Friday, Central Standard Time between 7 and 8 a.m. and get that needed information on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Good morning, everybody. It is hump day, and it is Buckle Up Bob, and we are going to get you started off with a little bit of traffic for your morning commute in some of the major hubs. And the DFW has some issues this morning. We'll start in Fort Worth, right in the downtown area. The southbound lanes backed up from the 121 and 30 all the way back up there. I believe that's around 183. That crosses right here. So past that, again, gonna have to have some patience. Also up here north of the Fort Worth area, you've got a little bit of backup there where there's a lot of construction going on. There was a problem here on 67. The left lane only is getting through. There was a car accident there. Looks like we got a big backup here on the northbound 183 as you come into the or no, 183 runs this way. I'm sorry. What is that highway? I don't have it right off the bat. So that might be the turnpike. But again, as you come into the 635 loop, just by the airport here, you're going to have a big backup there as you go northbound. Again, Garland, the 635 loop has some major headaches this morning, as well as the westbound side near Rockwall as you come across the Ray Hubbard Lake. You're going to have a backup there as well. So again, DFW area got a lot of little issues going on this morning. Again, slow your speed, be patient, right? Let them in, always yield the right of way, and you should be able to get through there just fine. As we look at Houston, let's see, there we go. Houston, the loop looks pretty good. We got a little problem here on, I believe that's 59, 59. 69 coming in there, don't it? Well, anyways, coming from the Humble area, you've got the southbound lane has a huge backup there once you get inside the loop. And again, 45 looks pretty good as we scroll in there, or zoom out, I'm sorry. Get some of these highways in there. There's 69. On the southbound, 45 looks good. A little problem in South Houston. Coming from the north looks good. A little bit of problem out here by Katy as you come on the eastbound direction, as well as the tollway here on the eastbound direction too. Got a little bit of backup in Houston, but Houston looks pretty good this morning as you come in. Just a little bit better than normal rush hour traffic, it looks like. Kansas City actually has an issue this morning. Just a little bit inside the loop there on the westbound side as you approach the downtown area of Kansas City on 70. You've got a little bit of a problem back up there. but the rest of Kansas City looks great. The loop is clear. Take the loop this morning. Usually the loops are your best bet anyway to get through. They're a little bit longer, but you actually save time not getting caught in that traffic. So again, Kansas City looked pretty good this morning. Chicago, again, back doing well. 80, 90, crossing the state line, Illinois, Indiana state line looks good. 80 coming up from Channahon and Joliet and 55 into Bolingbrook looks good. 88, Aurora, Naperville, you look great. And as well as 90 and the north coming from Waukegan, all looks great. The inner city, of course, looks always congested. Got a little bit of a slowdown on the northbound lanes as you take this outside loop there, 294. Just a small area, probably a 15-minute delay. So be careful there. But the rest of the loops look great. Chicago, you got a pretty good commute this morning. As we look at Nashville, we have our typical 24 backed up all the way to 266 this morning. So you got some major headaches there. It opens up a little bit here by Antioch and then backs up again at Bakertown and Beverly Heights. The loops look pretty good. A little bit of a section here, 40 on the westbound side, just outside east of the airport. And of course, our normal southbound back up here at 2465 merge points all the way down to the inner city there. But the loops all look great. Take your loops this morning, and you should have a pretty safe and easy commute for you. As we look at Atlanta looks bad again today, folks, as most days, but we got to break it. You can see 85 has a huge backup all the way past 316 on Pleasant Hill. You've got a good 25-minute delay there probably as you come into the loop. Sandy Springs Loop, the loop up here on the north side. We have the westbound directions on this side of it has a problem, and then the eastbound directions on 285 loop over by 75 merge point has an issue. We've got a big issue on the eastern side of 285 down from Clarkston all the way down to 20. Stonecrest has a backup on the westbound direction. 20 out here, the small airport, also on the eastbound side has a little bit of a problem. So again, your best bet if you can on 20, take that southern loop around instead of going north, because north looks like you're going to have a little. North won't be too bad. You have a little bit of a slowdown here, and then you can get to 85. So you really do, coming from the west this morning, you're going to have a pretty good options there as you get to the Atlanta loop. Again, if you got to go north, take that northern loop. You're just going to have a little bit of a slowdown up here on this one part after you get across 75, but then it opens up on that side till you get to you can get to the 85, and your 85 east and north bound lanes are clear. So if you're going north, take 20, go up, and you should be good. Same thing coming in from the other way, because you're just going to have this one section and then you're clear. And then, of course, the southern part looks great this morning. As we look into Baltimore looks great this morning. Towson, everything looks good. 295 merge. Got a little bit of backups, but nothing outrageous here from Jessup and the Greenbelt. The loop looks good in D.C. area. Just some minor areas here and there. Again, normal rush hour. Looks like the big issue is down here by Neabsco. That's a new one for me. We'll go Dale City and Lake Ridge. As you go into the northbound direction, and then again just south of Springfield after you get past Lorton, you got another little minor slowdown in the DC area. Hey, Philadelphia looks a lot like it did yesterday, folks. New Jersey side looks pretty good. We got the traffic back up on the southbound direction along the river, and then again the turnpike, always a problem, backed up all the way back past Conshohocken. And then again down here by Marple Township and Media to Chester, we got traffic backups in both directions there. So we're going to have a little bit of a slowdown there. But the rest of the Philadelphia area looks really good this morning. We're going to go into some weather here, folks. And, one of the things we want you to be ready for is it looks pretty good today. There's a little bit of system moving in there. And you can see the entire country looks good. The wind gusts look great. Right? Today, I think it is. Later this afternoon. Yeah. Start to get some winds pick up in Montana and the Dakotas. and that's going to get a little stronger. It's going to be in the mid-30s, and then on Thursday, that system drops down. So we have a little bit of a wind, nothing major, so we should be able to navigate it pretty good. And then all the way to Friday, you can see some systems out here that are going to cause some issues up here with the snowfall. But you can see Phoenix area might see some mid-20 gusts. Memphis, some mid-20s. St. Louis. So again, nothing we can't navigate. New Orleans, Jackson, could see the 30-mile-an-hour gusts. Again, these are forecasts. So let's be, we'll be ready for that for you. The main thing is we want to watch is the weather, okay? So the first thing I like to do is go to the new snow. It kind of tells me the big wide range forecast for the next 3-5 days and 10. And you can see Denver's now come down just a couple more inches there, DC area in the next 3 days. But when we hit this 5-day total, right, start to see a little bit more, nothing bad, and the system moves up along the coast. And then when we look at the 10, we've got a big system, and I'll show you how that's going to look here in a minute. But in the next 10 days, the forecast, Kansas City could see 6 inches, right? Iowa City, 6 inches. So Oklahoma, 6 inches. Lubbock, almost 6 inches. So we've got a band of snow. Chicago, it says 16. I don't really think that's going to happen, but again, they're really always on the high side here. And we'll show you what that looks like. As this comes in, we'll bring it way out here, starting Monday, I think it is. This system starts to move in. And then we look at Tuesday, you can see it hits the Denver, Iowa City, and there's that band, right? The system, the front of it. And we go to Wednesday, it starts moving Chicago. You got them little exclamation points. That's that freezing rain and ice. So we're going to be looking for that. That's next Wednesday, a week from today. So again, we like to look out and see what's coming, just so we keep an eye to see if this thing gains strength, weakens. So far, we've been on the good side that most of these systems weaken, and they don't do the initial forecast as they thought. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then as you can see, Thursday, you can see some strong thunderstorms through Memphis and that right out ahead of the cold front with the snow behind it. And then it will only let me go to Friday, but you can kind of see it start to push through. And we'll keep an eye on that as it goes. But it looks like next week is going to be a great chance for some of that ugly weather, and we'll keep an eye on that as well for each and every one of you. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some safety.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
You got to be prepared to stop. And when you look at that and you understand the situation that you're in, you got to know that it's going to change. You got to expect it to change, and you can't run those lights.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
And welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You have Buckle Up Bob, Drew. Oh my God, you know what? This may be the best input we get from him. Hey, Drive Safe. You know, this is the only time he'll sit there and be quiet, though. Yeah. Put it back on. Hey, Drive Safe Dave. How you doing, buddy? So yeah, I like this side of Drive Safe
This is
Dave.
good.
Bob, I was just bragging on you yesterday. Oh, Bob, you done a great job in keeping that bad weather on the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It makes it a lot easier than when you bring this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday crap. What's going on?
Well, it's the forecast, so I'm hoping I can work some magic and it'll get changed. But yeah, right now it looks like we're going to get hit with some really ugly stuff next Wednesday or so. So we'll keep an eye on it. These systems have been dying, so hopefully it's pretty good.
We just saw a distraction right there.
Oh, we did.
That, my friends, is a distraction, and we saw it happen. And you know what? It was a distraction. You running through, it took our eyes off the camera. A great example of what we've got to try to produce. If I would have had no-cell technologies right here, I wouldn't have seen it. It would have blocked it out for me out of Drive Safe Dave.
That's a suggestion we could get. Can you block Drive Safe?
You know what?
Right?
If anybody can, I think no
No-cell
cell can.
can do
Hey, what do we got going on? Buckle up.
This week we've been talking about the do's and don'ts when you're in an accident, right? And so this one is really big because you see, and there's an example that we give, but always make sure you get the police involved. Get that police report. That police report is probably one of the biggest things of evidence in a trial. So that police report is very important. What you never want to do, ever, is post anything of an accident on social media, right? One of the best practices they advise is, hey, social media and your accident should never, ever cross paths. And they give an example where somebody did that and was claiming of some injuries and then said they did gardening on their knees when they were claiming of leg injuries and how they spent hours on their knees, and it went against them. So again, stay off the social media. That is probably critical to protecting yourself and your company out there when you're in an accident.
Especially if you're going to lie about work comp, right? If you're saying you hurt something, don't go show yourself doing
And a marathon.
out there surfing now. I got a bad back, but I'm surfing.
Yeah, I'm in a marathon. What is those? Strongman competition.
Oh man, yeah. And so again, make sure you get that police report, everybody. We do have some videos, and boy, we got a lot to talk about this morning. This first one, again, it is running a red light, folks. You've got to prepare to slow. It's red now. So you've got to slow down at these intersections. They're dangerous. Not only that, you're making a turn, right? Left turns are, believe it or not, the most fatal turn that happens out there. More fatalities involving turning happen in left-hand turns. And here, you couple that with one of the most dangerous places on the roadway, an intersection, and it's just a recipe for disaster.
But it turned yellow right before I got there. I mean, what else can I do?
Slow down and be prepared to stop. You must be prepared to stop. And this driver was slowing down, but just didn't stop. Next one again. Good job here of hey, conditions are getting bad. You know, you see tire tracks and you see this truck flying by, and it looks good, but you just don't know. And this driver's doing a great job keeping her speed down until they can find maybe an exit to check it out and see some local forecasts. Kind of just drove right into it. We watched some videos on this one, and it just kind of gradually got to this point. So again, it kind of came out of nowhere where they just came up on some snow, but did a great job slowing down.
Yeah, for sure. And Dave, using your experience on that as well, you've got to make sure when you're in this weather right here that you're driving to your comfort, right? To where you feel comfortable at, not to what that truck to the left of you is doing.
No, you don't worry about the flow of traffic. What you want to do is make sure that you're driving your speed, you're never faster than the conditions allow or that you can control. And right here, it's evident the driver's got a great distance between himself and the vehicle in front of him and allowing the other traffic to pass as they determine their own path. But good travel here. I mean, you're going to encounter some snow out there.
Yeah.
It's not anything to be afraid of. It's just thing to be cautious of.
So, but when it comes to snow, rain, when it comes to situational awareness, right now we see where we're at. We got to make sure, and so I'll go into this. We talk about, make sure you're 4 seconds behind. In this, you want to make sure maybe you're a little bit more than 4, right?
Yes,
Double it.
You double it in snow, you reduce your speed by at least 30%. This driver was doing 38 miles an hour, so great job.
Yeah, in
Almost
fact,
50% reduction.
going at 38 miles an hour that far away from the vehicle in front, great job. You got plenty of time to stop.
Terrific.
Yeah, good job.
And again, we've got a red light we're running. right? So, or this driver is running. So again, you've got to be prepared to stop. It's an intersection. Stale green, you know, it's yellow, it's yellow, it's yellow, it's yellow, and it turns red right there as we go through it. Plenty of distance back. Got to be able to stop. This is just impatience. Be prepared to stop.
I'm sure this was more of the video kind of playing with my eyes, but it almost makes it look like the driver sped up. To go. Oh, okay, never mind.
It was not.
All right.
I was
so my eyes not playing tricks on me. So once again, we see these stale green lights, and Dave, I just want to make sure, because we have a lot of listeners that maybe they're not aware of when we talk about stale green light, what that means. Dave, tell us what that means.
Stale green light is a light that has obviously been green for a while. Its tendency to change will be soon and or relatively soon. So you got to make sure you're aware. You can see in the distance it's been green a while. Traffic has flown through and you've got built up traffic on the right. It is going to change pretty soon. And you got to know that. You got to be aware of that. You got to be prepared for that.
And when we look at this video, buckle up, Bob, as we're driving right now, it's been green, what Dave said, for a long time. I've just got to start slowing down. I got to be ready to stop. And as it turns yellow a couple of seconds ago, I should have easily been able to stop it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We want to make sure we're prepared, folks. Listen, if you run that and somebody's coming on the on-ramp, the off-ramp, or going through that, and they're timing it the other way, there's a bad accident right there, and we can't be part of that.
And here, again, tailgating first, right? And we see a lot where one bad decision leads to another and possibly another, and then now we're going to do the illegal passing and pass a double white line.
Anybody else know that was coming?
Yeah, all the way out to the hammer line.
That's what I said. There's nothing here but impatience, right? We always say pack your patience. When you're tailgating here on an overpass at a merge point, you just, like Sir Rick said, you just knew what was going to happen next.
Well, I almost felt like this was an F-16 banking, going all the way over there that fast. That's not the way to do it. No. First of all, you broke, tailgating, strike one. You cross over the lanes, strike two. You don't control your lane, strike three. Everything about this can be improved upon. And if you're watching this, listen, you can learn something from this. Dave, if you're watching this video and you find yourself right now, number one, you're saying, okay, let me back off a little bit. Oh, if I remember this video from the other day, I also means I shouldn't cross over the double white line.
Yes.
Yeah, here, this says everything about aggressive driving right here. You're not willing to wait on the vehicle in front of you. Look, I get that you're going to encounter slow vehicles. You're going to encounter people going slower than what you want to go. But remember, you're the professional. You got to give them space. By you flying out there on the left of this truck, of this car, all you're doing is causing more problems, because now they're worried if they're going to come over. They have to merge onto this road anyway. They're worried. All they can see is that big truck coming up on them in the rear view. You've got to be really careful and mindful of them as well. And you know what? Just slow down. Wait your turn. How much time did you really save? How much did you really save here by flying out into the hammer lane?
Yeah, like you said, you make a double lane change too, and all but what, 1 second, 2 second stops?
Yeah.
Just everything wrong here, folks. We just want to protect life. You're not protecting life in any of these decisions.
But then go back to what Dave just said, because Dave, that's it. You make these decisions because you need to gain time, because you're aggressive, because you've got to make up time.
I'm
but you
late.
said it.
I'm in a hurry.
What have you gained?
Nothing.
Nothing. You've gained what? 10 seconds? You're 10 seconds further. Let's give you the credit. You're 10 seconds further ahead than you would have been. So now for that hot appointment, that's hot, you get there, let's do it 8 o'clock in the morning, you get there at 8 minutes and 10 seconds, it's 8:05 at 10 seconds as opposed to 8:05. Listen, it's not worth it.
It's really not worth it. And you've got to take that defensive posture, and nothing about this is a defensive posture. This is aggressive driving, and you've got to aware of it. You got to look at it, and you got to be honest with yourself when you do it.
And again, the four-wheelers are crazy out there, and you just got to keep an eye on your mirrors, and you'll kind of see, there he comes. And then now he's at that speed, you can see how fast in the mirrors, there's nothing but, and there was a little bit of a slowdown there to just kind of a tap on the brakes to make sure that driver got in there. But just keep an eye on the mirrors, because we see this happen every day, folks.
Perfect. Great job.
Great job.
Great
All right,
job.
You got a caller? All right, what do you got?
We got Mr. Bill Criddle on the line.
What's up,
Hey,
Bill?
Bill, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Doing well, sir.
What's going on, Bill?
Well, I had something on my mind for the last couple of days. It's just been bothering me a good bit. I just can't get it off my mind. I guess I got to go and say what I got to say and get it over with.
We're the priests, so go ahead, sir.
Well, if my dispatcher's out and somebody else is dispatching me, draws me, I know that you got a lot on you. But I expect you to take care of me just like my dispatcher does, because I got one of the best in the business, I believe. And she takes care of me just any kind of way, satisfies me in my way I can get my time right. But if you draw me, don't leave me hanging. Take care of me, then go on. And I'll take care of my job. I can take care of my job.
Gotcha.
And that's been bothering me because this happened to me this week. Well, I sat 2 hours waiting on an empty trailer. And nobody called or told or anything. And I don't like that. And if I can't do my job if you don't do your job.
Amen. Hey, Bill, Bill, let's stay with this for a second, though. So now, Bill, you've been waiting, and and it's building on you, right? And then you finally get that empty trailer, and there's probably lack of communication. Maybe that's happening in there, but you get that empty trailer. You're not the safest driver you can be when you hit that road, right? Because your mind's bothering you. It's been bothering you for 2 days. Bill, I mean,
definitely bothers you.
It's part of safety, the communication between dispatch and a driver, because it does, that's a distraction in your mind as you're driving right now. And for 2 days now, and the day it happened, Bill, that bothers you enough, but it does make you unsafe out there. It has to create some kind of aggression while driving too,
or stress.
Right? Stress.
Correct. I'm just putting a point out. I'm not calling nobody out or anything like that. But that's part of it. That's how we all work together.
Yes.
And I'm all about working together. Now, I'm all about, if I do something wrong, I'm all about you getting on me. I'm good with it. But just because I'm a driver, you're a dispatcher, or you're the president of the company, if you do wrong, I'm going to call you out whether you like it or not. But and that's just the way it's got to be.
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Good. I'm good with that.
And I want to be the best I can be out here, and I want to do good for my company. And I don't want to have to run late. I want to be on time and do my business. This is my business. This is my life.
Amen.
This is what feeds my kids.
Amen.
So, and that, I'm just saying, it's just been bothering me.
Hey, Bill, I appreciate that. And Dave and Bob, when we talk about safety, so much of what we talk about here, we do a lot of conversation about the drivers. And we do bring up the dispatchers, the back office, that support system, but maybe not enough, because we, as a dispatcher, as an owner, as a safety person, we make an impact on how they drive those trucks. Do you agree with me on that?
Absolutely. The mindset is the first tool that you have to check before any load.
So saying that, and if you hear what Bill's saying, it's like, talk to me, let me know what's going on, be part of my life, keep me in the loop. And I get it, I agree. You're not going to get the exact same service when a dispatcher's out, but there's some things that shouldn't change. That's a communication, right? Making sure you know what's going on, the expectation, because there should be nothing more important than safety, and that starts in that daggum back office. It starts with ownership. It starts with you and safety. It starts with us. That's what it is. I mean, the drivers want to be safe, and it's not that they're perfect, right? They're going to make mistakes. That's why we show these videos. We don't show the video, though, of somebody not communicating with them.
We don't. The 2 hour wait, we don't show that. That's a long video, by the way, and we would show that. But
just think about the mindset, how important that mindset is. And when we think about this, and again, part of our job on BCB Live is to educate companies on items like what Bill just spoke about. Is man, you and hey, drivers, right now, turn your thing off for a second. I'm talking to the dispatcher. You make a big impact on the safety of a company. You really do. You have that power to make and to at least create the environment for that driver to go out there and be safe. We've got to really, truly believe that the mindset of a driver, the one driving that big vehicle, has got to be in a good place. You know, because they're driving a big machine. We get that, right? Do we get that? I mean, I get you get it, but do you in the dispatch office? Because right now the driver, they've already turned it off. It's just us talking right now. Do you understand, or do you have that support? Do you get that you really can save life in how you dispatch somebody? In little things like this, that there's nothing more important than communicating with those folks out there on the road, because they're doing that work that's providing a living back in your office somewhere. It is what it is. Do you understand that you really can make a difference in the life of a driver, in the life of somebody out on the road, by how you not only just treat them, but how you communicate back to them, listen to them for that second, for that minute, for that hour, whatever it is, and address the situation? We have to protect life, even in the back office. So we want to make sure that you hear that side. Listen, this is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all that you do for us. We ask you to keep our drivers safe out there, to give us also, us in this back office, that courage to know when it's time to listen to the drivers and to remember them. So much goes on and we forget about them. Give us that ability to remember and to call back, to communicate back with them, and to value them more than we ever have before. We know it's not by intent, Lord, but we ask you to remind us, to make us better at what we do. Keep us safe. Give us wisdom to be the best, to see things that only we can see. Keep us all safe. Ask this all in your Son's name. Amen. Everybody, thank you for tuning in to BCB Live. We will see you this afternoon. This is BCB Live, and we are the safest station in the nation.